welcome to this training video for the welcome team of our lovely church, the King's Church in Wisbech. First of all, I just want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you so much for volunteering to become part of the welcome team. The welcome team is a vital part of reaching out to our community, of providing a friendly, hospitable, welcoming environment for first-time visitors and guests. And it's a key part in helping someone who's new get plugged in to the life of our church. So what you're doing as part of the welcome team is really valuable, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for wanting to be a part of that. I also pray that being part of the welcome team is going to be a blessing to you, not just to all the visitors who we are going to encounter. I pray it will be a blessing to you, and that by serving the church in this way you will be built up and God will teach you some stuff as well. So thank you for being part of this wonderful welcome team. I just want to talk a little bit about how the welcome training is going to be done. It consists of two parts. The first part is this video, and in the video we have the theoretical stuff. So it's a lot of me talking, explaining concepts, explaining some systems, do this first, do this second, do this third, and trying to explain how things work and how things fit together. It's really good to know that in the back of your mind, so that you've got an idea of what's going on and why it's going on in that way. So please do watch this video all the way to the end. It's about 45 minutes. If you want to break it up into chunks and watch it on different days, or press pause and go and make a cup of tea or something, please do that. That's why we've got it in video format, to give you the flexibility to watch it when you feel able to, and to dip in and out of it as you like. However, the second part to the training, so that it's not just all from a distance remote through the lens of a camera or through the screen of a tablet or a computer. We do want to engage with you guys. We do want to chat, we do want to discuss. So there's a second part to the training, and that's going to be about half an hour or so of an evening, probably when the band is practicing, because the hall's already booked just for practical reasons maybe, or if that's not possible we can work out another time between ourselves. But basically we're going to have a practical session where we'll be in the Queen Mary Centre, where I'll be showing you how to put up the banner, where to place the table, how to lay out the publicity materials and the leaflets and things. And at the same time as showing you practical things, that's also the opportunity for you to have a chat, for you to have a discussion with me, to ask questions. You might have heard a few things in the video, you might have even jotted down a few little questions that you have about what you've heard in the video that you're just about to watch. Please bring those along. I would love to have a chat with you and discuss and talk through some of the things that we are learning about today. So there's two parts. The video that you can watch at home in advance of the training. Please make sure you've watched the video before you come to the practical session. And then the second part is the practical session, very short, about half an hour, but we can talk and dialogue and discuss and have feedback then, as well as showing you some practical elements. So let's not waste any more time, let's just jump straight in to the theory, and I look forward to seeing you at the practical session at a later date. So to start off with, we have our setup, and this is what happens before the service actually begins on a Sunday. So we would like you, as member of the welcome team, to please arrive at the Queen Mary Centre at 9:30 in the morning. That will give you about 45 minutes to do the setup that's required. Other people will be there setting up as well. The band will be there, the sound team are there. People are setting up chairs and things. If you find yourself at a loose end, please feel free to join in with one of those other setup teams. But I'm hoping that what we've got planned for you guys will give you enough to be thinking about during that time. So, the first thing we need to do is we need to set up our welcome area. Okay, so that's going to be at the back of the main hall in the Queen Mary Centre. And what we're going to be doing is we've got a really big banner that says you're welcome here to make it really obvious to everyone where the welcome table is. We've also got a tall, small, round table. That's going to be the welcome table, and that's going to be placed just slightly to the side of the banner so that you can see the banner. It's not being blocked up by stuff. You've got the banner, and slightly to the side you've got the welcome table. I will be showing you how to set all that up a little bit later on in this video. But so we set that up. We also are asking you to please set up along the tables at the back of the room, the tables that come between. We've got the chairs for the the congregation. Chairs for the congregation. Then we've got a few tables at the back, and then sort of a space. So on those tables, as you know, by coming to church, you will have seen leaflets and envelopes and newsletters and food bank crates and all sorts of things on those tables. What we're asking you as welcome team member to please do is please set up those tables. I'm going to let everybody else know that this is a welcome team job, and I'm going to show you how I would like that done as well, please. So what we need to do when we're setting these things up is we need to pay attention to the neatness and the presentation of the materials that we are offering people. Just picking stuff up out of a crate and just chucking it down isn't a good impression. You see, on the welcome team, we need to shift our focus away from what we used to and, oh well, that'll do kind of attitude, to an attitude of, let me imagine I'm coming here for the first time. This is the first time I'm encountering this church. This is the first time I might have even set foot in a church building. I'm feeling a bit nervous. I'm feeling a bit out of place. I don't quite know what's going on. You need to put yourself into the first time guest's shoes. And if you walked into a bank, okay, and they've got their table, and someone's just, oh well, we'll just chuck these out, doesn't really matter, you know, our information, you're not going to be that impressed. Or if you go to, you know, somewhere else, like a coffee shop, if you're waiting too long to get your drink, you're not going to be impressed and you're not going to want to come back. Okay? Think of supermarkets, the way that they lay things out very neatly, very specifically. Things are in zones, things are in places, things that they want you to buy are at eye level, things that are a bit cheap and they'd rather you buy the more expensive thing. The cheaper things are either really low down or really high up. They're quite hard to find and hard to get to. The supermarkets know how to target their audience. We've got to do a similar thing. Not that we're selling stuff like the supermarkets, but we've got to be mindful. Are all the labels facing the right way around? Is everything neatly displayed? Have we grouped things on the table in sort of order of relevance? So if there's a food bank shopping list, put that next to the food bank collection box. If there's anything to do with prayer requests, prayer answers, the wall prayer initiative, put that on the table with the prayer board. Group things together so it makes more sense to people and display them neatly. Something else I would like to ask you to do is to please note down anything that is running out or running low. There's going to be a sheet in a little folder that I will show you, and on that sheet please can you fill out if things are getting low, and there'll be sort of like a minimum number of things on the list. So for example, the welcome card, okay, it'll say minimum number 5, okay, and if you've got 5 welcome cards or less, you need to fill out that form. You need to just say, just tick the box, say we're short of these, tick, okay, and then you give that to Verity. You follow the procedure that I'm going to talk to you about later, about what we're going to do with paperwork that gets passed along. So that just goes in with all the other paperwork stuff that you're passing along, and what will then trigger a replenishment of the supply in the Queen Mary Centre. So if things are getting low, things will get printed and stocked up. So please do that. That is quite important, so we don't run out of anything. Something else that doesn't happen very often, you'd be surprised to know, is old materials, old leaflets, old magazines, old adverts don't tend to get thrown away. Please look through the box that I'll show you. That's our welcome box. Look through the welcome box and throw out old stuff. I know some newsletters and some magazines you might want to have on display for about a month. Have a look at the date on there. If it's over a month old, chuck it out. If it's an old messy church leaflet, you're now in April and it's advertising something in February, throw it away. If it's no longer relevant, please remove it. Something else, again, using the eyes of the guest, taking the point of view of the first-time visitor. Have a look around the room. In fact, the whole Queen Mary Centre, all the areas where somebody coming to our church will be going into, will be experiencing. Have a look. And I mean really look. Open your eyes, yeah? Have a look around and see, ask yourself, are things looking tidy? Are things messy? And most importantly, what can I do to change that? What can I do to fix this? Open your eyes. Also, are other things messy? Are there things on the floor that need sweeping up? Are the bins overflowing and they need emptying? Are some of the tables that we're using dirty? Do they need wiping down? Also, something to think about that I've noticed, maybe it's just me being really picky, but I've noticed this, and I do believe it has a reflection on us as a church, so it's worth considering. On the backs of the plastic chairs that we use in the Queen Mary Centre, some of them have some huge, great, big, ugly stickers that have been stuck on for some event, and someone's tried to rip them off, and they're kind of still there, they're kind of ripped off. They just look horrible and ugly. Some of the chairs as well also have big blotches of paint on them. Some of them look like bird poo. It's not great. You're a first-time guest coming into the church for the first time. You look around. There's this chair. Great, huge, big, ugly, horrible, half ripped off sticker on the back. You get round to sit on it and there's this huge big blotch of paint on it that looks like a bird poo. You're not going to really want to sit there or feel comfortable in that environment. If the chairs have been put out, spot the 4 or 5 with the big ugly stickers, have a look on the fronts, see if there are any with paint blotches or look horrid, and swap them round. There are literally hundreds of chairs in the Queen Mary Centre, and we don't even use 1/5 of them. Please swap those ugly, horrible chairs with ones that look cleaner and ones that look more inviting for a first-time guest. Something else to consider. Is the flow of traffic, the flow of people, the movement of people from one place to another. This may sound strange, but it's very important. Just imagine, think to your experience. You're in a busy supermarket. We want our church to be busy, okay? So picture yourself in a busy place, a busy supermarket. And you want to line up to go to the till, and all the tills are closed. There's just one till open. And there's a massive queue. You join the queue because you don't have a choice, but if you're anything like me, you're not too happy about it. You're not too impressed. You're thinking, well, look at all these other tills. Why can't they open some of these? I need to get to where I'm going. I've got something else to do. Let me, but no, I have to stand here in a queue. Queuing is very British, but it's very frustrating. Okay? Especially when that queue starts blocking up one of the aisles of the supermarket. Someone else is coming down pushing their trolley, wants you to go from one aisle to the next. They can't because the queue for the till is blocking up that flow of traffic. They get stuck, they get irritated, they got to turn around, go back the other way. There's more people coming down this way, so they then crash as they meet each other coming across. It's not pretty, and it doesn't do anything for the experience of the shopper. So think about the flow of traffic in church. There are several bottleneck points. I'm going to be trying to tackle this with some other teams to see how we can make what they do more efficient and help the flow of traffic move better. But let's just bear that in mind. If there's something you can do, even if it's just politely asking someone, would you mind just stepping to the side of the door while you have your chat? Okay, because quite often people arrive, they stand in the doorway and they have a massive long chat with someone who they haven't seen all week, which is brilliant. We want them to talk to each other. But standing in the doorway to do it is not the ideal place. So just saying, would you mind terribly moving aside so people can get through? They'll go, oh, sorry, I didn't realise. And move. All right, so it's things like that. Is the traffic of people able to move freely and to flow? If there's any blockages, see what you can do about trying to politely unblock them. Something else we need to look at, as well as cleanliness of the building. Don't forget the cleanliness of the toilets. Now, because we hire the building, it's not our responsibility to clean the toilets. If there's a mega disaster, we may just have to get our hands dirty and go and clean it quick. If it's not that great, but it's passable, it's worth mentioning to a deacon, and we will write a note and put it on the desk for the Queen Mary Centre to know about. It's worth letting them know if there's a bad smell in the toilets, or if the toilet paper's run out, or if you notice some graffiti on the back of the door, or all that kind of stuff. We want the toilets to be comfortable, to be a pleasant place to go and to use. So please have a look at the toilets and see if they're all right for use for not just our guests, but for everybody. And if there's something wrong, again, what can we do, what can you do to solve that problem? In the past, we had newsletters to give to people. These days, our newsletters are emailed. We've got 1 or 2 paper copy newsletters. I would suggest you leave those on the welcome table. You can mention it in conversation to somebody who's a guest. You might like to pick up our newsletter, but leave that to them and leave them on the table. That's the best place to leave them, and that's the place where people know where to find them. So, what you need to get ready to take your position is one of these, okay? I've made some welcome team lanyards, all right? It just lets people know the role that you're in. You are welcoming people today. You have an important job to do, and this helps to identify your role as part of the welcome team, not just to people who come regularly, but also to the first-time guest. If there's any questions they have, if there are any problems they have, they know who to find and who to ask. And that's going to be you. So please make sure you wear one of these lanyards at all times when you are part of the welcome team, when you're on duty. Okay, so you've got your lanyard. You will also need a pen. There will be a stack of pens in the welcome box. And you're going to need a hello card. Right, I'll show you what that looks like when we have the practical bit of it later on. But you need a hello card. And the pen and the hello card are just for the first time guest. And that's going to form a vital connection between the church and the guest. And once they've filled that in and given it back to us, that will then trigger a whole follow-up process whereby we say thank you for coming, we invite them to other events, we try and get them involved in the life of the church. So a vital piece of kit, a pen and a hello card. But you don't give them to everyone, you just give them to the first time guest. Otherwise, you've got your other hand free, you can shake hands, say hi, welcome to church, nice to see you guys. You'll have to stand kind of just inside the doors, but kind of inside the doors and to the side. We don't want to block that access point. So now we're moving on to a section I like to call your priority. I have mentioned it a couple of times before, but I cannot overstress enough that the first time guest is your main priority when you are functioning as the welcome team person. They are your main focus on that day. Okay? So other people that come to church, do chat with them, but try and keep it brief. Okay? Because you should always be looking around. Is there someone new? Is there someone new? Okay? Don't be rude to the people that come regularly, but they're not your main priority on this occasion. When you're wearing this, your main priority is the first time guest. Okay? So keep your eyes open. When they come, spend more time with them. Alright? Show them to us their seat if necessary. Okay? It's also great, a good idea to introduce them to somebody else who comes to church regularly. Okay, so you've introduced yourself. Hi, my name's Matt. Explained a few things about what's happening next, where to go. Oh, by the way, this is Fiona. This is so-and-so, so-and-so. Okay? And that's a good idea, to introduce them to somebody else who comes to church is a great idea. When saying hello, shake hands, try to remember their names. A really good way of remembering names is to repeat them and to use them a little bit. Okay, so let's just say, I don't know, somebody called Gertrude has come along. Okay, so say, hi, nice to meet you. My name's Matt. What's your name? Oh, hello, I'm Gertrude. Nice to meet you, Gertrude. I'm so glad you could come today. If you'd like to go through into the hall, Gertrude, there is some tea and some coffee being served. And I would like to introduce you to somebody else in our church, if you wouldn't mind. Something like that. You've used their name once or twice. It's a really good idea as well, just to jot that down on a piece of paper, the name of the person or the people that have come, the names, and to slip that to somebody who is leading the service. It's usually going to be one of the deacons or Clive, the person that's leading that particular service. If it's the 10:15 service, slip it to the person preaching, because they'll say, hello, welcome, nice to have you, Gertrude. Please find out more about our church, or hand in your hello card at our welcome desk, which is through in the main hall after the sermon. Same similar thing at the 11:15 celebration, where, hello Gertrude, nice to have you here. Hope someone's made you feel welcome. Please, can you fill in your hello card and pass it to a member of our welcome team at the table at the back after the service. So it's really useful to have somebody's name, because they feel valued and they feel known. So passing that name on to the person leading the service is a great idea, if possible. Pay attention to what's happening, what time of day it is, what service is just happening, what service is just finishing, what service is just about to start, so that when the first time guest comes, you can direct them to that particular place where they need to be at that particular time. If during the service or the talk you notice that a first time guest is kind of sitting alone, they've kind of isolated themselves a little bit, it might be a good idea just to have a whisper in somebody else's ear who comes to church regularly. Just say, would you mind sitting next to Gertrude? She's a guest.
they'll most probably say, "Oh yes," and go and sit next to them, which is brilliant. Don't do it yourself, because you're going to be up and down during the service, in and out, and don't make it you, because you're going to keep leaving. So choose somebody else to go sit next to them. Ideally, it might be the person you've introduced them to already. We'll see how it goes. Once you've introduced yourself to the guest, though, yes, they're your priority. Yes, you are the welcome team. Once you've said hello, you've told them what to do, you've given them the card and the pen, and they move on, that's great. Leave it. Leave it there. Your job is not to be a constant pestering leech, okay? You're there to help. You're there to serve. You're there to welcome. But once you've welcomed, let them move on. Let them go in. Let them go and explore. Let them go and speak to a few others. Let them, let them loose. We don't want them to feel overbeared, like, come to our church, you must come to our church, please stay at our church. Welcome them. Let them loose. Don't be too overbearing. So we've set up everything, we've stood outside, we've welcomed our first time guest, we've directed them in, we've left them, not being too overbearing, but we've given them enough information to make them feel comfortable. The next thing is the service will have begun, whether it's the Bible teaching in the morning or afterwards. So we need to be in position out in front of the door at about 10 to 15 minutes before the service begins and 10 minutes after the service has begun. Okay? So 10 to 15 minutes before the service begins is to welcome everyone who's arriving on time. But we know that not everybody arrives on time. So waiting for 10 minutes after the service has started, just in case somebody is running late. Just because they're running late doesn't mean we need to be less gracious, doesn't mean we are less welcoming. We need to give them the same welcome that we would give to somebody who arrived on time. There may be many reasons why someone's late, and it's not for us to judge. It's for us to welcome them and make them feel comfortable and at home and, help them as best we can. So please stay outside 10 minutes after the service has begun. Okay, don't make them feel bad for being late. Don't make any funny comments. Even if you're trying to be amusing, don't do it. Jokes like that, especially with a stranger, don't tend to work. Okay, with a friend, it's different because you know each other. With a stranger, with a first-time guest, don't make any jokes about being late or, have you lost your watch or, I don't know, whatever it may be. Don't do it because it'll make them feel guilty, it'll make them feel bad, and it'll have a negative impact on their experience. During the service, this isn't necessarily something you have to do, but it's worth being made aware of it. I'm going to do a little write-up for the person leading the service, which is a little welcome bullet point list. They'll work through saying welcome to new people, maybe saying hello Gertrude, nice to meet you, okay, and directing them to hand in their hello card to the welcome table. You are the one that's going to be collecting the hello cards, and you're the one that's going to be at the welcome table at the end of the service. So it's just worth knowing that this is what's going to be announced. You might not even be in the room because you're still outside doing your 10 minutes buffer for the latecomers, okay? You might not even hear this being said, so it's worth knowing that the service leader is going to be saying this to new guests, to see you, the welcome team, at the welcome table at the end of the service. Okay. Manning the welcome table during the transition period between the Bible teaching and the 11:15 celebration, when there's that tea and coffee slot in the middle, that is going to be quite tricky. Okay. because you want to be welcoming people in, and you want to have somebody at the desk. What I suggest we do at this point, because we don't have many people on the team, if we had 2 people on the team, one person ideally would be at the desk at the welcome table, rather, not the desk, the welcome table, during the tea and coffee slot, and the other person out front welcoming. When there's only one of you, I'm hoping to build the team so that there will be 2 of you, but when there's only one of you, this becomes more challenging. Do keep your eyes open for new people in that first slot. If there are new people in that first slot, they are your priority. Go to the welcome table, or even approach them afterwards and say, oh, have you filled in that hello card or whatever. But at the welcome table, hopefully they'll come and they'll find you there because they've been encouraged to do so. If other new people come into the church, okay, you haven't been out front to welcome them, but as they come in through the doors, you are at the welcome table and they're coming into the same room as you, so you should be able to see them with your supersonic sight and then be able to go and approach them and say, hi, I've just been at the table over there speaking to someone else. Sorry I wasn't up front to meet you, but I'd like to give you this hello card and say welcome and this is who I am, da da da. Do all the introduction stuff that you would have done outside, but do it inside because you've seen them come through the door of the room where you are. That's one kind of solution to a problem that we might experience at the moment while our welcome team is quite small. But the first time guest is your priority. So if we've got first time guests in the first service, they are your priority because they might leave before the second service starts. Okay? If there are no first time guests in that first service, you need to be aware of this, and then you know that it's safe to position yourself outside again to welcome everyone as they're coming into church for the second service, or even to say goodbye to some as they are going after the first service. So in that changeover slot, be outside and waiting to receive first time guests. I hope that's cleared up a little bit of a potential confusion there. When you're on the welcome team, even if you've been outside for 10 minutes during the start of the service, it will always be a wise idea to station yourself close to the door during a service. This is so that if anybody else comes into the building, or you can go and welcome them. You're on hand, you're ready, you're alert to the fact that you're listening for that door opening, and you can be out there to say hello and help people out. Okay, so you'll be coming into the service late, so sit near the door, so that you're aware to the fact that when other people come in, you can go out. Whichever room that's in, okay, be close to the backish by the door, so that you're on hand, and you're on standby, and you're ready. Okay, now we've had our service, and we're now moving on to what happens at the end of the service. So just as important as all the other stages, this one is where, hopefully, you will be quite busy. If there's a first-time guest, they will have been asked to come to the back of the hall, to the welcome table, or if they're in the small hall, to go round into the main hall to find the welcome table and to find you. Okay? So, stand at the welcome table during the last song, or the last sort of prayer that's being said. The leader usually gives an indication that this is the end now, and we're just going to do this last thing and then we'll end. At that point, take up your position by the welcome table. Okay? Stand there. Remember to smile. Okay? Remember to welcome people. Really do encourage people to hand in the hello card that you'd given them previously. Hand it in. They can keep the pen, that's fine. Then please give back the card. That is our vital link between the church and the person. Without that, because on there we've got permissions to contact them under the new data protection laws. Without that, we cannot contact them. Without that, we cannot follow them up. Without that, we cannot invite them into our church family. Without that, we cannot grow our church numerically. That hello card is very important. So once they've filled in, if they don't want to fill it in, don't put them under any pressure to fill it in. What I would say is, that's fine, you don't have to fill it in now. Why don't you take it home with you, and you can bring it back when you come again next week. Or when you come back again, you can bring the card then. That way you're not pressuring them to fill it in now, but you're still encouraging them to fill it in and bring it in at a later date. Much better than saying, oh, well, that's okay, and taking away the blank card. Encourage them to take it home, fill it in and bring it back later. At that point, you've received the hello card. Now, the Connect event card that I showed you in the practical part of this video, this is what you give to them next. So you receive the hello card, you say, this is brilliant, thank you. Can I invite you to this Connect event? Our next Connect event. On the back of the card, the next date of the Connect event will be written, and an explanation of what the Connect event is all about is on the card as well. It's just an invitation to the Connect event. You will also have a sign-up sheet on the welcome desk for Connect events. Okay, they might say there and then, yes, I want to come, but most probably not. They'll want to go away and think about it a bit. Other people in the church who've never been to a Connect event before might want to sign up as well. So you can write down the names of the people who are coming to the next Connect event. We need to know numbers because we cater. Okay, we get some finger buffet food ready for the Connect event. So if we're getting food ready for 5 people or getting food ready for 50 people, it makes a difference to know the numbers of the people that are going to be coming. All right, and that's all it is, just writing down their name to register for the next Connect event, and the date of it's on the card. Basically, it's just get to know our church, get to know a bit about us, get to know about what, ask questions, that sort of thing. Why don't you read the back of the Connect card and find out what it's all about for yourself? Better still, come to a Connect event yourself. Everybody in church is encouraged to come to a Connect event. You only need to go to one because the same information is given out at each one. But it's really important for us to all be on the same page and understanding how the church works, how things are done, who to speak to if we have any questions or problems. And yeah, Connect events are really valuable. So please do, if you haven't been on a Connect event, please go to one. Okay, so that you know what you're talking about when you're inviting guests to come to the next one. At the desk, also be prepared to answer some questions. If you don't know the answers, refer them to someone who might know, a deacon or an overseer. Please don't be in too much of a rush to pack up. I know lots of packing up starts happening almost immediately. There are some eager people who really like to help packing up, who pack up the back tables with all the other leaflets on it and the food bank stuff before people have actually had a chance to look at it and pick things up afterwards. If you see that happening, just quickly mention to that person, would you mind leaving it for 5 minutes so that people can have a chance to look at it or put their donation in the basket or whatever. In 5 minutes time, that'll be great if you could help me tidy it up. Just something like that. Don't be too eager to tidy it up. Give people chance and opportunity to look through the stuff. Then tidy it up. Okay, so you've received the hello card and you've given them the invitation to the Connect event. That hello card is very important for reasons as I explained earlier. It also contains personal data. Now, under the new data protection laws, we have to be very careful with that data that we have collected. Okay? What you need to do is you need to give that to the church secretary, who is Verity, there and then. Okay? On the day. And she needs to take it to the church officers over the road and lock it away. Okay? If the church secretary is not there, please give it to a deacon or an overseer and just remind them, explain to them that this is personal data and it needs to be locked away and secured in the church offices today. Okay? Locking it in the cupboard in the Queen Mary Centre is not ideal. Alright, it's much safer to lock it away in the offices. In fact, I'll send you a copy of our church data security policy so you know exactly how data is handled and secured in our church. It's very important. Please don't leave it lying about. Please don't put it in your pocket and take it home with you. Alright? This is serious stuff, and we have to take people's data protection seriously. So please do give that to the secretary or a deacon or overseer so that they can secure it on the day in the church offices. Right, you've done all that. Now it's time to pack up. You pack away everything, do the reverse of everything that I showed you in the practical video, find a space for it in the church cupboard, and yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's been useful. I hope it hasn't been too long or too boring. Most of it's common sense stuff, but it often takes reminding of it for us to do the best job we can and offer the best guest experience to our church as possible. So thank you for being on the welcome team. Thank you for the time and the energy that you are going to give to this. Thank you for your friendly faces and your smiles, and I look forward to being welcomed by you at church someday soon.